Hello, and welcome to another episode of Todd Talks. When Todd Talks, people listen. Hopefully. And today, we have a breakdown of the upcoming anime episode of Death Battle Season 10, and much like last episode, thus 2 episodes in a row, I have no idea who these characters are. Yes, I know what Dark Souls was, I knew about Skyrim, but I didn't really know, Chosen Undead and Dragon Ball. I didn't even know it was called the Chosen Undead, so there you go. And now, with Hunter x Hunter, and here we go, a certain scientific railgun and a certain magical index, there's technically 3 here, I know little next to nothing. So, I ask you to bear with me, but this is still going to be fun. And I did do deep research to figure out who wins, and I'm pretty sure I've got this one. Please let me have this one. Alright, first up we have Killua Zoldyck, who is the third son, I believe it was? Yes, the 3rd son of the Zoldyck assassin family. Yes, it is a family of assassins. Yay. And it is their creed to always kill their targets and make sure that they're not caught. And that is why there's no pictures of them. And thus, if you were to get a picture of them, you'd actually be rich, as I noted in the preview. So that's how good they are, that no one actually knows who they are, what they look like, and thus they can't prepare for the inevitable assassination that comes for them. However, despite being trained from a very young age to be the best assassin ever, and having probably canonically killed hundreds of people before he ever decided to defect, Killua, before it defected. Yes, he was bored. Kids. Yes, he was bored of his assassination life and decided, hey, I am going to go and become a hunter. And then he met Gon, who is, of course, technically the main character of Hunter x Hunter. It's complicated because he lost his abilities. It doesn't matter now. And after meeting Gon, he found his bromance. Like, literally, is canonically a bromance for the ages, and fans adore it, apparently. So, again, I haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, so I don't really know. But through Gon, he joined the Hunter Society and became, wait for it, a hunter. And after his family found out about this, they were not happy at all, kidnapped him, tortured him, and then Gon had to save him. And only after that was he allowed to become the hunter that he wanted to be alongside his friends. So, anime. And of course, that was just, as we saw in the preview, that wasn't actually what happened, because the father just let him go because he wanted him to use these hunter abilities to become a better assassin. Anyway, so what Gon, it's not simple to say that Gon is just an electricity user, because that's not actually accurate. He was trained to be an assassin. That's why he has, like, the retractable claws and is so fast he can rip out a person's heart while they're still alive. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Anime. And so on and so forth. But where he gets the electricity is from his nen, which, yes, as Boomstick teased, it's key. It's yet another anime-style energy source that is complete bullcrap and lets you do absolutely insane abilities. So, everyone can have nen, but who can use it, it depends, apparently. And once you get it, you can refine it into various things. For, I almost said Natsu. For Killua, his Hatsu, which is a sub-form of Nen, N-E-N, was electricity. And once he was able to unlock it, he was able to use it pretty much instantly. Like, that's how good he was. He was able to master techniques within basically a day, if not sooner, even if it was an incredibly difficult technique. Like, there was one technique he used, I can't remember what it was, but he mastered it in, like, a day, and a master of Nen said it usually would take, like, weeks to reach a certain level, and Killua just did it anyway. So kind of like a Goku kind of thing, but it's not all-encompassing, because, again, Nen is focused. So for him, it is electricity, but he can use that electricity in various ways, which he has proven time and time again. So he does have various electrical attacks, including enhancing his own body with electricity. He can actually focus his Nen to a certain part of his body to increase his attack or defense with a 1% margin of error, which another master hunter, or high-level hunter, said that she couldn't do that until she was basically in her 20s, and Killua, canonically, is like 13, 14 at the current state of the manga. Not the anime, the manga. Alright. Yes, it's still ongoing. But, yeah, so that's how much control he has. He can literally focus his nin and hatsu into various parts of his body to increase power and defense. And then he can channel the electricity he does to stun, attack, and of course kill alongside his assassination abilities. And in fact, he, as I already noted, he's already a killer because of his assassination abilities. He can turn his hands into claws. He's been known to literally like just snap or decapitate people without much effort. He's a killer. Clean fire and kerosene. No, yes, he's a guy. I know. Okay, that was a clean joke. Never insult clean. Never. Now I'm saying killer queen all day. Dang it. All right. But one thing that's important to note about Killua is that he technically has kind of like a dual personality thing going on here, because when he's with people like Gon or his friends, he's kind, he's fun, he's easygoing, he gets bored, he once ascended it wasn't like a tower or something. It was like there was 200 levels and he got to 199 and he was invited to do number 200 and he's like, nah. He bails. He straight up bails. So, yeah, he's funny. But then once he goes into assassination mode, which is an actual thing he can do, it's like, no contest. He is straight up a killer. But that's where the catch comes in, because despite his abilities, such as Rhythm Echo, which as we saw in the preview, can make him appear to be everywhere just by altering the cadence of his footsteps, he actually has two different mindsets that he has had to combat during his life. Because during his upbringing, he was taught, as an assassin, never go into a fight unless you know you're going to win. Okay? So, don't go and face a target unless you know you can kill them, unless you know you can beat them. And while that sounds basic, right, it actually became a crutch to Killua, because there are times in the Hunter Society where you are going to fight monsters that potentially are stronger than you, or opponents who are stronger than you. And the whole point is to push yourself beyond your limits, go beyond, and overcome. But for Killua, that was really hard to do because of his training. And so he's like, do I follow the assassination mindset that my family literally beat into me, or do I go with the societies? I apologize if it's not the Hunter Society. I thought it was called the Hunter Society. The hunters, and just keep going no matter what. And in fact, one of the bad guys even said, one day you are going to abandon Gon because you can't get over this. And turns out he was technically right, but not for the reason you think. Because in the most anime thing ever, okay, not the most, there's probably worse, but it was revealed to Killua through his abilities that he had a needle put into his head, I kid you not, into the back of his head during his first hunter exam by, I can't remember who, I think it was one of his family members, but one of his family members. And it was so embedded in his subconscious that it made him follow the creed of his family and basically run away in fear if he thought he didn't have a chance to win. Which is so messed up. And how did he not notice he had a needle in his head? But after removing it, he gained full subconscious use and was able to save Gon, even if it meant risking his life, which he would do, and he has done. He's willing to risk himself to save everyone, and he has done that multiple times. And when you measure that with his abilities, it's pretty cool. But the biggest one, the one I know a lot of people are going to be talking about, is called Goldspeed. Goldspeed, man. Oh yes. So what is this? This is where he fully embodies he infuses his body, with electricity to the extent that he can react what is called automatically. All right. So think of it like, I know, sorry, I keep making Goku references, but think of it like Ultra Instinct. All right. But it's electricity fueled instead of just like a key thing. Right. So with it, he can go up against opponents who are incredibly fast, and he could dodge them automatically, even if it's like he's not fully aware. It's just like instant reaction. It is like I said, it's Ultra Instinct, all right? But well before Goku did it. Okay, suck it, Dragon Ball. But yeah, it is stated that in this state, he is so fast that it is incredibly hard, if not near impossible, to hit him. It's pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? And because of this, he is a godsend to Gon and among others in their fights, and he has dodged things even while asleep, which is really odd when you think about it. But hey, as I'm going to mention a little later, Asta, did that too. I'm not saying he's light speed, but he literally was holding onto a rope asleep and was dodging attacks while asleep. Like, that happened, all right? And then enemies that would once give him trouble, like Chimerians, after he removed his needle, this sounds so weird, or eventually child's play to him. Like, that's how good he was. And his electricity is powerful enough to have incredible amounts of voltage, and he himself is immune. Okay, gotta say this carefully. He's not immune to electricity, but he is highly tolerant to it. He's a high pain tolerant because of his family's training. And in fact, it was because of that training through his brother, who he hates, that he decided to channel his Zen into electricity. He specifically says in the manga, and I even found the panel of this, he was attacked by an electricity user, and they were like really juicing him up. And then Killua just beats him and goes, electricity does not work on me. Wait, go to the next panel. I have a high tolerance, but that doesn't mean I don't feel it. It still hurts, and it doesn't make me happy. So he feels the pain. It's just he pushes forward. That's another trademark of Killua. He is so enduring that he will get kicked, punched, stabbed, shocked, whatever, and he'll keep going because he's trained himself. He's been trained and has trained himself to just resist pain and keep pushing forward, which makes him incredibly hard to put down. Not impossible, but incredibly hard to put down. So if you're his target, you're in for a shock. All right, 12 minutes in. We're doing good. All right, now time for Misaka Mikoto. Now, before I start her breakdown, I need to clarify, because this is what was tripping up some people, including myself, because I'm like, who is this girl? So, technically speaking, Misaka Mikoto is from two different series, both manga and light novels. All right. The main series she was in originally was called A Certain Magical Index, which starred Toma, who we saw in the preview. All right, she was technically the secondary heroine outside of Index. Who names her girl Index? It's anime. What are you gonna do? Anime manga. But then her story got expanded into a certain scientific railgun, and her nickname is actually the railgun. And Biri Biri. So it's a thing. So both of these stories are canon, and it specifically stated that a scientific railgun not only features Talma, who I can't remember his last name, Talma, who is the protagonist of A Certain Magical Index, but there are certain things that happen in A Certain Magical Index that are stated in Railgun. Okay, like Talma's memory loss, all right, which is a big thing for Mikoto because of course she has a crush on him, thanks and Darius. But both of these are canon. Both of these have feats featuring Mikoto, so we have to use them as canon. All right, good. All right. So in this world, there are multiple powers, if you will. One of a magical nature and one of a scientific nature. Mikoto is scientific in nature. She is what is called an Esper. And as stated by Index, ironically enough, though Espers are people who have talents. But they have one talent. They have one ability, so they can't, like, say, have fire and ice like Todoroki. They can only have one. And hers is electricity and electromagnetic manipulation. And there are 5 main levels of Espers. And even though she started at level 1 originally, she eventually worked her way up to level 5, which makes her one of the most powerful Espers on the planet. Not the most powerful, but one of the most powerful. And after going to a certain middle school, she asserted herself with her power and ability to be their ace, aka their best, all right? And even though she wasn't the most powerful level 5 Esper, it actually stated, like, at the beginning, she was the lowest ranked level 5. So think of it like Yu Yu Hakusho, where there was, like, B-class demons and you work your way up to A. It's that kind of thing. So, but her abilities are not to be mocked, because she'll beat the crap out of you if you do. Like, she is like that A-type personality where she knows she's good, she'll do the job, and if you don't acknowledge, you're gonna get blasted. And she's done that multiple times in the past, including to Talma. So if you don't know, Talma is basically Asta from Black Clover, because he has basically like the anti-magic. He has what was it? Imagine Breaker, if I recall correctly. And basically it shuts down any supernatural or supernatural ability, which technically is what her railgun is. So he can't be hurt by her if he has his power up. So again, like Asta draining the magic out of the magic users of his land. So it's that kind of thing, and that frustrates her to no end, because she happily takes down people who spite her or anger her, and here's this guy like, hi, and then like nothing happens. And of course that's why she develops a crush on him, which he's completely oblivious to because he's an idiot, among other things. Anyway, so despite this, Misaka Mikoto is one of the most powerful people in Academy City. And that's both good and bad for her, because in her biggest arc, which was the focus of a certain scientific railgun, and a very long story as I would come to find out, the city is incredibly corrupt, to the extent where when she was younger, she donated some of her blood to help with a muscular dystrophy disease. Why wouldn't she give her blood to help with that? Yeah, they lied. They lied. They were actually trying to power up the first level 5 Esper named Accelerator, who I'll get to him in a bit, but basically they were trying to, as the preview noted, clone her to the extent to where if Accelerator killed enough of them, he would gain the ability to jump to the mythical level 6. Yeah, there's the level 6. And then as Phil Coulson would say, welcome to level 7. No, that's not my Phil Coulson impersonation. That would be more like, yeah, I was also, no, I can't do a Phil Coulson, I guess. Whatever. You know what I mean. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First few seasons were good, not the rest. Anyway, season 4 is great. Moving on. So, they were trying to power up Accelerator, and Misaka, not Mikasa, that's Attack on Titan. Misaka was oblivious to what was going on until she started to hear the rumors about her being cloned for military use. And eventually she met some of these clones, including one right after Accelerator killed her. And when we say cloned, Death Battle wasn't joking when he said tens of thousands. There have technically been over 20,000 Misaka clones. Alright? And one of them that becomes basically a pseudo-sister / friend is Misaka number 10,032. Yeah, that's messed up, Chief. That is totally messed up. And now you might be thinking, well, wait a minute. Then the point of her story is that she would rise up to defeat Accelerator and avenge the death of her sister. No. The reason Accelerator was so dangerous is that he can reflect damage. So even with her railgun ability, which I will get to, she couldn't touch him. Like, he was emphatically stronger than her because his ability was a perfect counter. That's actually something that she's had to deal with quite a bit. Despite the fact that she's a top-tier Esper, she keeps ending up fighting people who have really powerful abilities, like other level 5 abilities, or can perfectly counter her like Accelerator. In fact, she had to team up with Talma to finally beat him, because Talma can stop the supernatural with the Imagine Breaker, and thus he actually beat the guy with punches, because the dude doesn't know how to fight, because he's used to just reflecting damage on everybody. Anime. Gotta love it. Sometimes. Alright, but eventually she would, get some peace of mind. She actually went on a rampage of sorts to take down all the centers that were cloning her and her sisters, and eventually she got in the good graces of Toma, even though she still struggles to talk to him about her true feelings. And even though Toma's an idiot, he has come to rely on her in later parts of the stories in the anime. So, good for her. So, what are her abilities? Well, her abilities are much more pronounced than Killua's. Not that Killua's is bad, it's just she has incredible use of her electricity and electromagnetism to the extent that she can do certain things that are honestly mind-boggling. Her biggest one is, of course, her railgun. Now, if you haven't seen the preview yet, it's awesome. I think this could be easily one of the top 5 Death Battle 2D fights if they keep it where they have implied with the preview. So, Her biggest thing is the railgun, which she can channel her electricity into an item, specifically coins. She likes using coins. And she'll fire them a short distance at incredible speed, just like a railgun. That was actually her nickname that she gave herself. Beery Beery is what Toma gives her, and she hates it, because of course she does. Now this is important, because you're like, well, how fast does this railgun go? Okay. So there's two factors that you have to think about here. Actually, there's three. One is mass of coin. All right, a coin is not meant to be heavy. It's meant to be heavy enough and be done with it. But force equals mass times acceleration. So you take that mass and you multiply it by 2,300 miles per hour. Yeah, that is her railgun limit. She can fire things 2,300 miles per hour. That's insane. And when she does it with coins, that's enough to like KO or potentially kill a person, depending on when she hits them. When you do it with bigger items, it's impressive. Now, does she do it with bigger items? Yes, she does. She only uses coins for portability's sake, right? It's like you can carry a bunch of coins on you, but you can't carry like, giant metal balls, But that doesn't mean she won't use them in a circumstance. She is kind of like a Magneto character, kind of, not to an extreme level. Like, she can't fry your brain like Magneto can, but she can bring metal objects together to form objects that she will shoot as a railgun. A big example was they were facing a giant wall. Something like Ba Sing Se. There is no war. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. All right, remember the drill that had to go through the wall? Well, think of that wall, and then Mikoto created her own ball of metal and shot it railgun style, and it pierced the wall. And this wall was thick. Again, I'm not joking when I say like Ba Sing Se level of wall, right? Like, that's what she did. She did that with a one shot. And at other times with smaller objects, she has like put massive holes in concrete monsters. She's even launched it so fast that the concrete melted and turned to charcoal. Not sure how that works, but that's what they said. And so on and so forth. So whether it's small objects or big objects, she can fire them at an incredibly fast rate and do massive damage. Because again, force is mass times acceleration. So if you take a big ball of steel and fire that 2,300 miles per hour, it gonna hurt. Or it gonna kill. It gonna kill. Alright. But that's not the only thing she can do. Because she can also magnetize the iron or particles around her and things like sand to create swords and whips and body doubles and storms that can, block your vision. So that's incredibly helpful. She's even used it to make defensive barriers that are so powerful that when a monster attacked her barrier, it lost a limb. Like, that's how powerful it is. So yeah. Let's see. And that's still not all, because she does have what you would call, I guess, standard electricity attacks. She will fire spears of lightning from her head. She can call down lightning from the sky. Yeah, and I saw the panel. It is a literal call down of lightning. It even stated that it doesn't matter what season she's in, she can call down lightning. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I'm missing something. Oh yeah, she also can do area attacks, like 360 area attacks. And this is important. Her voltage output is 1 billion volts. Like, she can do smaller, obviously. Like, she intends not to kill people most of the time. But she's not afraid to use one, including a 1 billion volt attack that she sends both in a focused blast and everywhere. Yeah, and that's still not enough. That's still not all, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the beam of lightning from her head? That is specifically, and I looked this up, specifically stated in the light novel to be faster than light. Or as fast as light. Speed light. Sorry. I mean, it technically could be faster than light, but no. It specifically said that the lightning bolt was as fast as light. So even though she herself can only move so fast, including when she literally uses electricity and water to fly, and she also has, I'll get to this, but she also has artifacts that she can use that help her fly up to Mach 6 on her own. So that's not too bad. But yeah, her lightning can be fast as light. Like, that's I read the exact line from I think it was from the light novel, so yeah. Anyway, so her abilities are incredibly impressive, and then she can also use an electromagnetic radar sense to always know where electricity is or where other people are based on the electricity and currents that they produce, because the body can produce electricity, and she can sense that, which we also saw in the preview, where she was able to adapt to the rhythm echo. So she is incredibly powerful, but of course she is not perfect. Her biggest flaw is that her electricity and her railgun have a limit. It is stated that if she fights for too long, she could run out of electricity, and her railgun can only be fired 8 times in a minute. So she can't, like, for example, have the coins all in her hand and just go bam, 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 bam. That's not how it works, especially when she's charging up the bigger object. So she does have a limit on how many times she can use a railgun in a minute. But if she paces it out, she'll be fine. Also, she's incredibly smart, able to deduce various things and come up with quick strategies, not unlike Killua, who's also a very competent and intelligent fighter. So her biggest weaknesses, aside from her powers, is just that she's just so stubborn. All right, she's so prideful in what she can do and her abilities that she, remember when I said she went on the rampage to destroy all the clone facilities? She did that on little to no rest, and she only relaxed when she thought all the cloning facilities were shut down. Then she got ticked when she found out they weren't all shut down, and then went on another rampage and almost KO'd Talma. It's complicated. Remember, they're totally gonna be a couple. Anime. So, oh yeah, one more thing. Now, actually, I'll say this for the breakdown. So, Misaka Mikoto is an incredibly complicated young lady, and yeah, if you fight her, it's not gonna be a bolt for the blue. I'm sorry. Are these puns revolting to you? I know that's a shocking development. Can you see him getting charged from this? I digress. So, who wins in the fight between Killua and Misaka Mikoto? Okay, I've seen some serious discourse about this, because the question is, can she overcome Godspeed? And based on everything I've seen, the answer is yes. It's true that Killua has the ability to react automatically, but it's also specifically stated that it's just hard to hit him in this state. It's not impossible. If he was a one-hit kill squad, then there would be, or a one-man kill squad with this ability, then there would be no point to things, and he would be at the top tier. But much like anime, there's always got to be someone better. And even some of the top tier bad guys who he has fought has said, like, yeah, this guy's giving me problems, but he's not impossible to fight. So can Mikasa get around that? Yes. Well, as I said, some of her lightning attacks are not just straight up lightning, which means they move hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, just as a standard lightning bolt. But her spear of lightning from her forehead moves at light speed, which is way beyond anything in Hunter x Hunter. Remember, certain animes have, let's just call them tier levels, all right? So, like, there's Hunter x Hunter, there's Naruto, there's Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, etc., etc. So, a certain magical index and a certain scientific railgun, most people agree has a higher power level than Hunter x Hunter. So there is a debate whether he's just legitimately faster than her, which I would argue probably. One side I saw said he was only 150 miles per hour. I don't think that was accurate. There was also a lot of typos on that wiki. Like, come on, guys, do better on your wikis, all right? But as I also noted, he was asleep, hanging onto a rope, and able to dodge attacks. So clearly he's fast enough and has incredible reaction speed, especially in Godspeed mode, where he fought and beat certain very fast enemies. But with Mikoto, also he does have a resistance to electricity, and he actually uses electricity from other enemies to recharge him. The problem is that this won't really matter with Mikoto, because even if she realizes, hey, this guy is like absorbing my standard electricity, which he wouldn't be able to dodge more times than not, she would just go railgun on his sorry butt and use her magnetism to make something of metal, not electricity, metal, and just shoot a hole through him. Not to mention, her electricity has been canonically stated to stop people's hearts. So I don't care how resistant you are, if your heart ain't beating, you ain't living, alright? And that says nothing about her iron sand techniques, which act like chainsaws, which could easily harm him, and he is able to be harmed by physical attacks. That absolutely needs to be said. And she can charge her body just like he can charge his. Not to mention with her electric radar, she can always sense him. And much like Killua, there have been points in the manga and anime where she's used her radar to block attacks that she didn't even see coming. Like her electricity would act on its own to repel anything that could harm her. Now, yes, physically, Killua could kill her if he gets a shot in, but can he get a shot in? Can he actually harm her without her blasting him? Because remember, she can also do 360 attacks, which she's done multiple times at 1 billion volts. And again, Killua is resistant to electricity, but he's not immune. He can tolerate it, but he feels the pain. So I don't know. I don't think this is stated in Hunter x Hunter that I saw, but I don't know if he's taken 1 billion volts before. I highly doubt it. So, in terms of power output, I forgot about the artifacts. The artifacts can be used to do special attacks beyond electricity, like she has fire, water, flight, etc., etc. It does have side effects if she uses it, so she only uses it sparingly. But even without those, she can do incredibly fast things. She can fly on her own. She can stop his heart, unleash beams faster than light, and she's dodged energy beams, which could be as fast as light. And she did dodge a laser that is emphatically stated to be a laser, which is, of course, fast as light. So her reaction speeds top Killua's in by everything that I have seen. So for this fight, I am picking Misaka Mikoto. I hope I haven't said Mikasa too much. Misaka Mikoto. And with that, I made this episode of Todd Talk, which once again I went over way more than I intended. I am sorry. So who do you think is going to win between Killua and Misaka Mikoto? And how fun do you think this 2D fight is going to be? Let me know in the comments below. So, thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.